Hey everybody, my name is Ingrid Dinter. All right, let me just go and make sure I have. Hi everybody, this is Ingrid Dinter, and we just have a few more minutes until everybody comes on our call today. I'm super excited. I just want to make sure that you can all see me. If you can't, let me know. And so this is really cool. We already have quite a few people on our call. Now, you will see on the top right corner, there is a little field that says type your reply or type in. You can actually send me a message in there. Can you guys please all do this right now? There is Kim. Perfect, Kim. Can you see me? You say you can see me. Can you hear me as well? Perfect. That is wonderful. So the reason I'm asking is because this is a new software for me, and as in all new softwares, it's a little scary to do that, but I think we're going to be fine. So, and I've actually decided, thank you, Kim, and I've actually decided to do this as a live call because I think dealing with clutter is such a personal thing that I didn't just want to throw some kind of a PowerPoint at you or whatever and let you sit there. I think we can all, we can all really benefit from having this much more personal and comfortable. And so I'm really excited today. I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes until everybody's here, and then we just get started. The purpose of this call today is really to help you guys feel super comfortable with where you're at. Where you're at with your clutter, where you're at in your life, and there's just so much to be said to that. And it just made such a difference for me that I really want to share this. So let's see. I think we have one more minute, and we have quite a few participants already, so that's exciting. That is wonderful. That is really wonderful. I see. Let me just double check this really quick. So, perfect. All right. So let's get started. Hi, everybody. My name is Ingrid Dinter. I'm the owner of Healing Now. I've been an EFT practitioner and trainer for over 15 years. I also have a whole bunch of other backgrounds, as you may or may not know. But I had a really phenomenal revelation the other day. I was in a situation where I needed to implement a new system into my office. This is my office, as you can see here. And I didn't have a space to put it. And I realized that for the longest time, I had actually managed to pile up stuff everywhere, right? You see there's shelves everywhere and stuff, but things were horizontal. They were on the floor. They were piling up in areas. I think I sent you that in my email. I'm not sharing with you the photos right now, but I probably will eventually. And I just couldn't function anymore. I couldn't do the new thing that I wanted to do because my environment was not representing that I was ready. And that was such a revelation for me that I started to really get serious on cleaning that up. And I want to tell you that this was one of the most phenomenal things I've ever done, to really clear the environment first and then see how I feel after. And I know that so many of us are in a place where we want to deal with our inner stuff first, and then we hope the outer stuff comes. Or, we have this conflict going on. And I realize that so often what happens on the outside also reflects on the inside. Your environment is really your outer skin. It really is. And it's so hard to move on and move forward when you are not in a situation where you feel that your new space is actually welcoming you, right? Imagine you do all these great things and you still don't see any change on the outside. And I want to encourage you guys with tapping and also some structure and some systems to actually get started and create a space that reflects who you are. Okay, we're going to do as much as we possibly can today. I did tell you that I will talk about how you can do more intense work with me more to the end of our class, but we really want to get started with this today. So one of the most important things that I think is such a revelation is that clutter isn't just stuff, right? It's not just items. Clutter, the way I understand this, is really a manifestation of the things that you don't want in your life. It's a manifestation of the things you don't want in your life. Just let that sink in for a minute. Okay? So everything that you see in your environment that kind of rubs you the wrong way has something inside that says, you know, this isn't really me. This may be somebody else, or that may be a bad memory, or I really shouldn't have bought that, or I wish I had more time, or, you know, why can't I get this done, or why do I weigh more, or, you know, why are people not respecting me? You know, all of this stuff that we're dealing with on a daily basis actually has kind of a match in our outer world. And that hurts, and that's difficult. And so if you really see it like this, then I think it becomes so much easier to understand why cleaning clutter isn't just about buying Rubbermaid containers. It's really more, right? By the way, since we are at Rubbermaid containers, I have another little story to share with you. Growing up in Germany, I did not know the meaning of the word clutter. Germans don't have clutter, okay? There are translations for the word clutter, but they are something like mess or disorder or garbage. But clutter really is more than that. And in Germany, we don't have that. And the interesting thing is that growing up in Germany, we actually bought furniture for our things, right? We had cupboards, we had baskets, we had, you know, whatever container we needed, but we never put things that are meaningful to us in plastic containers unless it was specifically storage. So in the basement, yes, right? And wherever other storage, real storage areas are, yes, they are appropriate there, but not in areas that are actually living spaces. And when you embrace that your things deserve to have a real space where they live, then you automatically feel that you're giving the things that you have more importance. And this is another thing that I want to share with you today, because it's so much easier to not feel overwhelmed when you make decisions about the things that you own. Okay, here's another aspect of clutter. I realized that clutter also demonstrates or represents some of our deepest desires. I have a very dear friend who lived literally in a shoebox-sized apartment with 2 kids and a husband who was going to law school, right? And so what she did was she had no money. She had very little for her kids because they were living on this very small amount of money, but she went yard sailing all the time because she wanted to have a feeling of wealth. So she bought $1 items here and $4 items there. And that shoebox-sized apartment became more and more full. It represented for her that desire to have wealth at some point. And she, you know, she did really well after, but understanding that so often the things we have are clutter because they're not really what we want, but they just represent something bigger that we think we can't have. I think that is really important to see and to just own and understand. Does that make sense? And you guys are very welcome to type a little thought or response, you know, your own experiences in the box on the, yeah, basically over there in the top right, in the bottom right, and just let me know if that rings true for you. Another reason why people have clutter is because their memories attached to them. And actually, Joan just says she can't see me. Joan, I heard from others that they actually can see me. Maybe your computer is not set correctly. I would not know what that could be. Can you hear me though? Okay. So clutter represents other things too. It represents memories. Okay. Some of you actually emailed me and said, you know, I have stuff from my parents. I have stuff from my kids. I can't just toss them. I can't just get rid of them. But on the other hand, they're bringing all that energy into your life that you don't want to have today. And you deserve to have good energy in your life today. And so this is another piece that, you know, you really want to think about. Do you hang on to memories just for the sake of memories, or because they're actually meaningful to you today? All right. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So I think something that would be nice to do in the beginning is to just tap with EFT on the feeling of overwhelm, a feeling of you know, there's just so much going on in my life right now, and there's stuff everywhere, and I don't know where to begin. Let me guide you through a process of EFT, and then we see how you feel afterwards. Okay? So tap on the side of your hand. And actually, I just learned from somebody else, when you have Firefox on, the browser Firefox, then you can see me fine. Okay, so I hope that that's the issue there. Karate chop point, even though I feel completely overwhelmed right now, I choose to be surprisingly okay with that. Even though I feel very overwhelmed with all my stuff, I choose to be surprisingly okay with who I am anyways. Even though I have way too many things in my life. There is more than I can handle. Then there is more than what's good for me. But it's there anyways. And I don't even know where to begin sometimes. I deeply and profoundly love and accept who I am. Tap on the top of your head. It's overwhelming. Inside of the eyebrow, there is so much. Outside of the eye, there is always more. Under the eye, I don't even know where to start. Nose and upper lip, it's embarrassing. Lower lip and chin, I can't even believe this is happening. Collarbone, I'm so overwhelmed sometimes. Under the arm, I'm so overwhelmed sometimes. Take a breath. See how you feel. Maybe you feel just a little bit better. Feel free to leave a comment. Okay, let's stop again. Top of your head. What if there was a surprisingly obvious solution to this problem? Inside of the eyebrow. I wonder if I might not have what it takes anyways. Outside of the eye. Maybe I have what it takes to clear this out. Under the eye. Maybe I do have what it takes. Nose and upper lip. I wonder how I can do that. Lower lip and chin, but maybe I already know. Collarbone, what if it wasn't that difficult? Under the arm, what if it wasn't that difficult? Top of your head, and even though I feel completely overwhelmed sometimes, I respect who I am and how I got here. Take a breath. Good for you. How are you feeling? Just take a second, and you may type something in. If there's a specific emotion coming up for you, just let me know. Top of your head. I choose to have courage no matter where I start. Inside of the eyebrow, I choose to let go of any shame. Outside of the eye, Do you want to have my life? Under the eye. If you had my life, you'd have clutter too. No, it's an appellate. Sometimes it's just not that easy. Lower lip and chin. Sometimes it just isn't that easy. Collarbone. But I choose to respect myself and receive the respect from others. Under the arm. And let go of any guilt or shame. Top of your head. Because given my life and what I've been through and the daily things that are happening every day, the things I'm struggling with, the things that are hard for me, given all that, I truly do the best that I can. Take a breath. How does that make you feel? You guys feel a little better? Yeah, I'm just taking a look. Yeah, perfect. All right. So, Anna says, feels great. Well, I'm glad, Anna. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, we deserve to feel okay. Our stuff has a story. Everything we own has a story. And every time you look at it, you see that story. There's no shame in that. There really is no shame in that. It just would be so nice sometimes if it was easier, wouldn't it? Okay. So I asked you guys to give me some feedback about where that clutter problem actually shows up in your life. Yeah. Lorna just said she finally feels like she doesn't need all that stuff. Lorna, you don't. You know, but here's the other thing. You're allowed to have whatever you want, right? I'm not here to tell you what you need and what you don't, or nobody actually has the right to tell you what your environment is supposed to look like. And that's actually a conflict that I so often have with programs out there that tell you now you have to work with a bagua, for example, like with feng shui. That's fantastic for those who like that kind of stuff, who have an emotional connection maybe to Eastern systems anyways, or who are naturally organized. They do really well with that. And feng shui, for example, is a fascinating system. But if it adds to you feeling bad because you fall behind, then it's not serving you. Right? And I saw this so many times that people are trying to do something that they can't follow through with because it's somebody else's system. It doesn't represent their story or where they are in their life. Quite frankly, some of us may feel that we need a perfectly organized home. Others just want to have some clarity. And that depends on where you are at. You know, maybe a certain amount of clutter is perfectly fine for you, right? Maybe holding on to things that are sentimental is really important for you. I find it very abusive to say we should throw them out anyway. If you really like them, why should you do that, right? And I want you to find in your outer life what represents you in your inner life. So that your outer life represents the resolve and the comfort and the feeling of healing that you're working hard on your inner life. And just see, as Carol just said, I have too many books I don't want to get rid of, but I know I will. I'm going to know every day to decide what to keep and what to send on their way. Yes, and we will actually, Carol, in a moment, we will talk about different ways that you can actually do this. Because one of the most important things that people shared with me is that your stuff has value, right? You don't want just to throw something out when you know it may be worth $5 or $10, sometimes even $200, right? And it doesn't feel right to just throw that out because it doesn't have a home. I totally relate to that. I have a business background too. So I think if you have something of value, you should rather sell it or otherwise monetize it so you can make that money back. But good for you. Good for you for realizing that you have too many books, which basically, here's the thing with books. When you look at all the books you have and you literally sit down and say, well, this takes 5 hours to read. This takes 10 hours to read. This may take 25 hours to read. This may be 2 weeks, right? And then you look at the amount of time you have and amount of books you have, you see there's a disconnect. You're not going to be able to read all these books, even if you never buy another book, correct? That's where the problem starts. Unless they're reference books, they're just, making you feel bad because you didn't read them, you don't know what's in them, you spent the money on them, and here they are, not enhancing your life. And in our reality, a lot of those books that we have, we can very easily buy back if we really need them. On Amazon, you can buy a book for 10 cents plus shipping. So it's not really that they're lost forever, especially books. So let's work through all these things for a minute. I want to share something with you that I found so important. The different rooms where your clutter, or where our clutter gathers, also represents different opportunities in our life, or different aspects. Let's talk about, for example, your kitchen. All right, your kitchen is a utility room. Is a room where you do things. A lot of times, people say, "My kitchen is where my family gathers." That may be true. Right? My kitchen is also where my family gathers. And when I have 35 people come over, they're still all in my kitchen. But the reality is that my kitchen isn't a kitchen unless it has a stove on which I cook, right? It's not just a meeting place. It's actually a room where things need to get done. So is my office, right? My office is a place where I work. It has to have my books and my folders and my hardware and the programs on my computer. It doesn't have to have a yoga mat in it, right? Even if that's nice to have. So you have to kind of decide, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later. You have to kind of decide what the first function of a room actually is for you. And only then can you actually start to clear the space, to make space for whatever that room stands for in your life. Okay, just a second here. So Jenny says, I make a start decluttering my office, but I never even finish one area. It's constant overwhelm. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Time clutter. Well, this is time clutter. If you can't hear me, just once again, really quickly, if you can't hear me, you may want to change your browser. Okay, that may be an option to do that. Okay, good. So let's talk about this. So often we try to do so many things at once, don't we? So, for example, you have a kitchen in which you have an office, in which you have a room for homework for your kids, in which you also see your friends and family. Now, if that's not overwhelming, then I don't know what is. If you decide that your kitchen is a place where you cook, and you organize everything according to that, it becomes so much easier. It becomes so much easier if you just decide the reason I have this space is so that I can do certain things that I need to get done in my life. Okay? Quite a few of you, just for the record, you guys sent me an enormous amount of feedback about where you are and what's important for you. Some of you said, my office is in my bedroom. Now, honestly, if you only have a one-bedroom apartment, there's a reason why that is. But your bedroom should be the place where you rest, where you relax. You may want to read a book. But if it's the place where you work, then how are you ever going to not work? If you even work when you're asleep and the first thing you see in the morning when you wake up is your stuff, of course that causes chaos and overwhelm, right? If you have to have your office in your bedroom, then make that a visible barrier. Make sure that you actually know that you don't want to look at work when work is done. Does that make sense to you? Okay. All right. So I'm just hearing Google Chrome is fine too. All right. So let's tap on this aspect as well. Even though There are so many things I try to do at once. And sometimes I don't even know where to begin. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though there are so many areas that are overlapping in my life. And they are sidetracking me. They are distracting me. I start with one area and I finish in the other. And that frustrates me because it's not who I want to be. But I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though it's so easy for me to get sidetracked. And the frustrating thing is that everything that sidetracks me demands my attention and my time. And it's just more than what I want to give. I deeply and completely accept myself. Top of your head, there is just so much. Inside of the eyebrow, I always start, but I hardly finish. Outside of the eye, I have so many overlapping interests. Under the eye, and my rooms seem so overwhelming and demanding to me. Nose and upper lip, it's just not nice. Lower lip and chin, it's so unfair. Collarbone, this is not who I want to be. Under the arm, and a part of me is angry that I should have to live like this anyways. Top of your head, I am frustrated. Inside of the eyebrow, how did this even happen? Outside of the eye, I can't believe I'm living like this. Under the eye, there are so many things that I'm supposed to do at once. Nose and upper lip, I wish it was easier. Lower lip and chin, well, maybe it can be easier. Collarbone, I think I'm going to let this be easier. Under the arm, and I'm going to dedicate spaces that really work for me. Top of your head, when I can have my priorities and the spaces in my life the way I want them, who knows what else I'm going to accomplish in my life. Take a breath. How do you feel? How does this feel to you? All right, I would love for you guys to, I'm going to do something here that I hope is going to be helpful for you. I'm going to do a little screen sharing here. Yeah, Denise says, I think I surround myself with stuff to feel safe. Right, but Denise, really a quick question. Do you actually feel safer because you have these things? She says no. All right. So, okay, why don't we just do some tapping on that and then we just talk about some systems here because you guys asked me for systems and I really want to do that with you. And I also then want to talk about the value of your things. Okay. So karate chop point, even though I surround myself with things to feel safe, the reality is that it's not working. And even though I just need to feel safe in my life, and I want to feel safe in my life, and I don't feel safe in my life, and I might not even know what makes me feel so unsafe, but I just don't feel safe sometimes. So I surround myself with stuff, with memories, with things to do, with things that make me happy for a short amount of time, so that I don't have to feel so unsafe all the time. And I'm just going to acknowledge how hard it is sometimes to not feel safe, to feel judged, to feel uncomfortable, to not know how other people see us. It's hard. And even though I don't feel safe sometimes, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though my stuff does not make me feel safer, but I have it anyways. Maybe that's okay. And you can take it one step at a time. Top of your head. I don't feel safe inside of the eyebrow. And I might not even know why. Outside of the eye. Why do I feel so unsafe? Under the eye. This is my home and I deserve to live here happily. Nose and upper lip, but the reality is it wasn't always easy. Lower lip and chin. It was not always easy. Collarbone. And I just don't feel safe sometimes. Under the arm. So I surround myself with stuff, even if it's not working. Top of your head. And even though I might even feel guilty for doing that, I can choose to let that go. And deeply and completely respect myself. Take a breath. How did that feel? Yes. Anybody has some feedback on that? Denise, how are you feeling? And I'm just reading here from Kim. How do you... Okay, so Denise says, yes, that felt good. Kim said that her stuff is actually not her stuff so much as it is her husband's stuff. Now, again, I want to talk with you about those different areas as well for a minute. Because while I was reading through your survey or through the, I asked you, and I had, over 100 people actually responded and said, different areas where this is a problem. That's why we're having the class. I want to talk about this for a little bit in a minute. Let me just see this. Pamela says, I didn't know that I was feeling unsafe, but this last tapping round really helped. Look, we all feel unsafe, because we just don't know what the next steps are. We don't know so often what we need to do, and that's scary. And sometimes we just don't want to think about it. That's normal, right? The question is, do we get stuck or not? And Brian says, how do you deal with the procrastination of getting started? I also have a system for that in just a second, Brian. But that actually kind of ties into another question. How do you get motivated and how do you stay motivated? Okay, so here's something that I learned. If it's not fun, why would you do it? Right? So if you sit there and say, oh my God, look at my house and I'm such a mess and this is, and I should do this and the other. And, I read your feedback and I so relate to this in some level. People saying, and I should be losing weight and I should be making more money and my business isn't working and this isn't happening and the relationship with my husband or wife. And you just think, oh my God, where do you even start, right? Why would you start if that's in your life all the time? And what I learned when I was starting my own process was that, first of all, imperfect action taken daily gets you kind of where you want to be, right? It's okay to be in motion. You don't have to get there. You just have to kind of shift from the direction you were looking into to a direction that works better for you and just keep going. And once you get into a direction that's actually fun for you and you fall in love with the outcome, and you say, I really love that this space over there is a clean space and I'm not going to put anything in it. Or if I put something in it, it's probably going to be meaningful to me. Once you get into the habit of that, you don't feel that you have to do it. You actually feel that you want to do it, right? It starts to be fun. The second thing is, when I was going through my own stuff, I realized that I actually have a lot more things than I thought that are really pretty good and powerful and important and good quality. These folders back there, I went through each and every one of them, and I'm going to keep them. They have wonderful programs. I've paid for those. I have created them myself, and I rediscovered them. And I was just kind of in awe, thinking, wow, I've done all that. That's actually nothing to run away from. You know, when you look at your books, you may find that you actually are really an interesting person. You have phenomenal interests. You know, you may love philosophy or gardening or technology or healing, or, I mean, just look at all the books you have and realize that, you know, you are really quite fascinating. There's no shame in that just because you have them. So what? You have, right? My husband, for example, has a lot of tools, but he's a wonderful carpenter. And you put him, basically, you give him anything with a Q-tip and a wrench, and he can probably fix it, right? I think that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. So start to respect yourself for this. And the same thing in your spouse as well. My experience is that when you acknowledge the things that are good, people have a tendency to do less of what's not so good, right? So kind of saying, you know, you really know how to fix this, or you really have some interesting interests, oftentimes helps people feel safe and not judged enough to stop the things that are really not working. And I think we all need that acknowledgement and that support and that safety, right? So for some of you, accountability is a really big deal. And we're going to be talking about this too, because some of you, they don't just want to do things and then stop. They actually want to have a goal and work towards that goal, and then have somebody to celebrate it with. You know, they need a place where you can say, hey, look, I did this, right? I am so proud of myself. I cleared out the shelf and it looks so nice. And, you know, it's stuff like that. If that's something you need and you don't have that in your life, of course it's hard to get motivated, right? There's no shame in that. There is absolutely no shame in that. Okay. So it's so much more about acknowledging that it's not easy than, than just feeling guilty because we think it's easy. See, again, your space is your outer skin, right? It's a reflection of who you are. It's not separate from you. So really kind of look into that. Let me just see. Yeah, we have actually addressed quite a few of these things already. So make room for yourself. Yeah, so this is really cool. So here's something I really want to share with you guys, and I'm going to do a little screen share for a moment, which means you will see my computer. Here are a couple of things. The first thing I want you guys to see is let me just see if I can. Okay, can you guys see me right now? Okay, gee. Okay, so I think I made a mistake here. Let me do this again really quick. I'm so sorry. Perfect, Kim, that's great. All right, let me try this again with the screen share. I don't know if I have to refresh the page here, but I want to try this out really quick because this is actually important, okay? So I'm going to try something, and if you guys can't see me, let me know, okay? And I may have to go here. Okay. All right, you guys can see this? Okay, perfect. So, and you can hear me as well. Excellent. So here's something I want to show you. Look at that. I hope you can see this. When you go to Goodwill, and that's only one page, there are many pages like that. Let me see if you guys can see me. Yeah, there we are. Could you see that? Isn't that fascinating? Guys, can you guys see me right now? Can you see me? Okay, good. So So many of you told me my stuff has value. I can't get rid of it. You know, somebody else should have it. Somebody who finds this meaningful. And I agree with that, you know, but that doesn't mean that we have to store it until that perfect solution comes into your life. Okay? So often, the easiest thing to do with your stuff is to pick it up, really write down all the things you get rid of. You know, you want to cherish what you have. Write it all down. Take a moment to say farewell. Take a snapshot of it if you want to, and then actually donate it and write down the values so you can make a tax return. Okay? I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if not each and every one of you on this call wouldn't have between $600 and $1,000 worth of things in your house that you could donate right now for tax return. Would you agree? If you disagree, just say, no, not me. And if you do agree, say, yes, that's me. Okay, Bonnie says yes. Easily. Okay. All right. So, oh my God, everybody says yes, yes, definitely, easily. Okay, so let's just acknowledge that. We are storing things of value instead of just letting them go and making money in the process, right? So that's such an easy way to do this. You can actually deduct things from your taxes, absolutely. Okay, I just take a sip of water, just a minute. You can actually deduct things from your taxes, donations from your taxes, absolutely. So this is one way of doing this, all right? So there is a second way of making money, and that is clearly a yard sale. Now, I'm not a big fan of yard sales because yard sale is that one moment in time when you put so much time and effort into storing things, preparing them, labeling them, this and then the other, hoping for good weather, and you know you may make $150, $200 depending on what you have. People negotiate you down, and it's just such a project. So if you love a yard sale, I would say go ahead and do it. But if you don't, then you know it's. I think a yard sale is probably the hardest way to make your money back. Something that worked really, really well for me, you guys, is Craigslist and local Facebook groups. Again, they are different. Let's just talk about them separately, okay? Craigslist is great because you're kind of anonymous. People look specifically, and they're still usually in your local area. My experience with Craigslist is that you can sell higher priced products on Craigslist because people can find you all over the country. Okay? They will Google whatever they're looking for, and they will find your listing on Craigslist. Craigslist is super easy. It's free. You know, you don't pay, like eBay, for example, you pay a fee. Craigslist, you don't. You just list your stuff and you let it go. People find you. I have sold tons of stuff. I have sold $600 rugs on Craigslist. I'm not kidding, right? So Craigslist is fabulous for higher priced items, for things that are important to you, and especially for things that you think people would probably travel for a little bit. It is a phenomenal tool to do. And so you just need to get motivated, get started, list stuff. Downside is you have to be home for people to pick it up. For the smaller stuff, or, you know, it's not an either or, but a lot of smaller things also you can really use your local Facebook group for. And you can just post it. Very often people know you. I had people specifically buy stuff from me because I was so local, and they thought, oh my God, she lives in my town. Again, just put it up there. Facebook is even easier because you can literally just take a picture with your phone and post it right away. You can make really good money that way. And Diana says Facebook has an assortment of mommy markets. See, that's another wonderful thing. Pamela says, yes, definitely. In the okay. Pamela, I don't know. I'm sorry, you guys for interrupting. I don't know what it's like in Canada. Maybe your tax laws are different. I do know what it's like in the US according to my CPA. Of course, I always recommend talking to a CPA and making sure that what you do is legal and you can actually take those deductions. I can only share with you what I learned, and always double check, definitely. In my heart, I prefer the act of giving away to the needy over making the first purpose making money. Kim, I agree with that. However, here's the thing. What if there's no needy person who really needs exactly what you have, right? A lot of needy people actually go to Goodwill, right? A lot of needy people go to Family Outfitters, which is a place for homeless women with children. So homeless families, they can go to your local outfitter store and they get coupons and they can pick stuff from there to help them get a start. The only thing is you don't know the person, right? But those things are really wonderful. Diana says, how do we let go of the emotional feeling of letting go of our things? That depends on what the emotion is, Diana. It really does. And it may take some trauma work, and sometimes it may just take something very simple. And I want to talk with you guys about this in a moment. But if you really want to see who gets your stuff, then a local Facebook group is fabulous because people are actually picking it up, right? A Craigslist is fabulous because people come to your house. So is a yard sale. Again, the amount of effort is different, and it's kind of a preference thing. I find it hard to sell very high-priced items on a yard sale because people usually come for bargains, right? Whereas when somebody comes through Craigslist, they're already pre-selected. They already know what they want. So I want to share a couple of things with you guys really quick that I found to be very helpful in my own process. I'm going to share my screen again, okay? So just bear with me. I hope this works. If it doesn't work, we're in trouble, but I think it should. All right, let's make sure this works for you. There we go. Excellent. So here we go. So first of all, this is something that I love as a system because when I talk to you guys, it seemed like people have different problems. Some people really had problems with their office. Some people had their clutter problems spilled over into relationships. Some people felt a lot of anxiety, could never relax, different things. So here's what I highly recommend you guys start to do. Let me just make this big for you. Actually, let me make it big this way so you can see it better. So take all the rooms in your house and divide them up into these 4 categories. Kitchen, workshop, home office, gardening shed, garage. You have different rooms. You may have different rooms. You may really want to sit down with us a minute and decide what premier function those rooms actually have. Premier means that this is the one room where you definitely have to get certain things done, for example. The kitchen is the one room where you definitely have to cook. Okay, you can meet your friends someplace else, but you can only cook in the kitchen. Workshop, it's the same thing. Home office is the place where you work, no matter whether your kids use the computer for homework or not. Okay, garage, so important. A lot of people have the garage as storage. You really have to decide, right? Write this down, guys. Family, relationships, public life. This is your hallways. Your living room, maybe your front porch, your dining room. This is where you invite people to join spaces with you, right? If there's clutter in those areas, it will spill over into your family life. It will spill over into your comfort level of having people over, right? So the skill level that you need to clean up relationships with family or people is a very different skill level than making rooms function. Can you guys see that? Bringing functionality to a room is a different skill set when you declutter than bringing functionality or meaning to your relationships. And the emotions that you tap on in those different rooms will be very different for that reason. Right? You will find it very easy to let go of certain areas and very difficult to let go of others. Right? Privacy, relaxation. Next area. I put into this
bathroom, which means the master bathroom. That's the bathroom you don't share. That's the bathroom where you, in all the privacy of your own life, look in the mirror, where you have your toiletries, where you shower, right? It's a room that you don't want everybody to go through unless they're really close family. Bedroom, clearly. A reading nook. You don't share a reading nook if you're fortunate enough to have one with random people that come to your house. This is your nook. This is your space. You may have something else. Just think about it. Where do you go to feel private, right? And those are also those areas that can feel invaded when people come into them and do their thing, right? And the emotions that you have in there, and if those areas are cluttered, especially by other people, those feelings that come up will be very different from when somebody clutters your kitchen, right? The way to keep these rooms organized or systemized or beautiful have a very different tone than the feelings of your hallways. So you want to focus on them separately, right? Storage areas. Storage areas, remember, in the beginning of our call, I told you, storage is the only place where you are allowed to have plastic containers. Let me be German with you. Put the hammer down. Okay? It's perfectly fine to have Rubbermaid in your barn or in your basement or in your attic, right? But so often we use plastic storage containers because we're holding on to things that don't make us feel good. I have a dear friend who has her divorce papers in the attic. You know, they constantly hanging over her head. How could they not be hanging over her head? Just imagine that, right? It's so important that we don't have that we organize things, that we go through the bins, that we make sure that the things that we have actually bring us joy and, are good for us. And we actually consult them. If we just have them because we accumulate them at some point, that doesn't really help you. Does that make sense? So here's a little worksheet for you guys. And just for the record, I can imagine that some of you guys are starting to think, how am I ever going to get this done? And I want to talk with you about this in just a minute. But here's a worksheet. I'm happy to share that with you if you'd like. You write down the different rooms that you have. You give them a premier focus. And then you start in one area and one area only. It is very overwhelming if you try to clear out your family relationships at the same time you clear out your storage. What is storage to you may be dear to your husband, right? What means that you just want to let go of stress is a very different energy than trying to accomplish things in your office. You want to kind of focus. Does that make sense? So focus on the different areas in your life. And then here's the next thing you want to do. Each room, you want to give a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is, it's very easy to clean. Very easy. You may already have systems in place, you just haven't used them well. Or it may just not be such a cluttered room. 10 is very hard to clean. Those are your emotional things. Those are the things that where you just don't know, where you're not sure, where you're going back and forth, right? And then you start with the easiest to clean area, not with the hard one. I think one of the reasons why so many times people don't get started is because they try to do the hardest things first. I encourage you to start with the easy one. Here's what I mean by that. Let me just make sure that you guys can actually see me. Yes, here's what I mean by that. Easy to throw out is trash. Trash means magazines that you don't need anymore. Food that is outdated. Paper clips. Nobody needs paper clips. That in those amounts that we have. Rubber bands. Anything that's broken or outdated. If you don't want to fix it, let it go. Right? If you have multiple of something, there's a good chance that you have one you love, or maybe two you love, and the rest of them you never got rid of because they're still working. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Keep the ones you love. Okay? Let go of the things that came into the house unsolicited. Let go of the pens that that have a label from somebody else on them. You didn't buy them. Why should you keep them around? Okay. Try on all your clothes. I'm not kidding. Try on all your clothes, and you will very easily see what needs to let go, what needs to go, and what you should be keeping. Right. Um, Find proper containers for the things that are important to you. You deserve to be surrounded by beautiful, beautiful storage, things that you love. I love my office because I have a certain style, and my office is start to finish in that style now. I enjoy that. Right? And then look for conflict areas in your life and see if you can possibly actually resolve those conflicts while you're clearing out the house. The most important thing, you guys, that I cannot overemphasize enough is I want you guys to love, to have fun, and to just allow yourself to be amazed, stunned, and amused. Does that make sense? Let me see if I can get back to the camera.
Please let this work. Yes. All right. So could you guys see me? Did you guys see and hear me there? Okay, awesome. How does this sound? What we were just talking about. Does this make sense to you? Do you guys think that you can do this? Just let me know. Just type a little bit. Okay, good. Carolyn says it may take years. Carolyn, why do you think this may take years? What do you think makes this such a long process? I'm going to have some more water for a minute. Writing down is a great idea. Do you think you would write it down, Brian? Too much stuff, too little energy. Goodwill value sheet is really helpful, yes? Already started, very cool. Very cool. Love the idea of determining the function of the rooms and keeping it just for that. Would you share your sheets? Yes, of course, absolutely. Absolutely. So here is the thing that I noticed. When I was going through this process with you guys, and you may know that I've started, asking you what it is that you guys need. Why can we not have more than one function for a room? Carolyn, it's not the function, it's the focus. Okay? Let me use a kitchen, for example. Yes, your kitchen is probably where your family gathers if you have family. But the thing is, it's not a kitchen unless you're able to cook. Okay? And if the other functions in that kitchen don't allow you to cook effectively anymore, it is not a kitchen. Right? And that means that energies are taking over your life that stop you from the normal processes that you need to have in place. Okay? If you have, let's say somebody who has a small child, if you have a playpen in your office, it halfway turns into a nursery. And you really need to get your office straightened out and functional in order for that second energy to work without you constantly being distracted. Okay? So it's really a matter of focusing, and it's a very self-respecting thing to say, this part of me is supposed to function in this way that I want, right? There will be areas where you will clash. I will tell you this. My husband and I have been clashing about the use of the hallway. For me, the hallway is where I used to put things on the way out, right? So if I wanted to put them in my car, first I put them in the hallway so I can take them out. He was furious about this, right? Because he said, this is clutter, there's not even storage there, why are you? And first I was mad, and then I thought he has a point, right? He says, when I want to come into the house, I want to feel safe. I don't want to see your things. And I realized he's right. Why should he see what I wanted to bring out into my car and didn't? So I realized I needed to eliminate that step so that it works for the two of us. Does that make sense? Okay. So what I realized, what I realized is that one of the areas that we just need to do is we need to make our outer skin enough of a priority that we don't get a good start and then add um, to the guilt that we feel about not pushing through, right? We need to find a way to fall in love with a completely new lifestyle. A lifestyle where you say, I love to get into this room. This is anybody can go in there at any time and they will exactly see who I am and why I like it so much. Your what that looks like for you will be very different. Some of you may like feng shui, right? Some of you will find a cold, right? Because it's so organized that for some of you, it may just not represent where you are at in your life, right? Especially because it's very easy to mess things up when everything has its place and then you have small kids, right? So I'm not saying that there is one way to do this, but what I am saying is that everything around you deserves to be created and valued. And having that focus is incredibly important, right? Dealing with the emotional part of it is very important. If you go through a divorce and you still have half of the stuff that you and your husband or your wife bought together, that's emotional. It's more than just, a sofa. It may be something a whole lot more. If it's something you inherited, it's very emotional. It may not be an item you love, but it belonged to grandma, right? So dealing with this in a respectful way is a big part of creating a life that's you, right? Sometimes, by the way, just to give you a tip, is as easy as rearranging stuff. You may not have to throw them out, right? I'm not saying that you need to get rid of things that are important to you if they're important to you, right? But find a place where they make sense, where the energy actually supports you in your life. Okay. You got to have fun in the process. This is really not about housekeeping. This is really about reorganizing your life. This may even impact your body clutter, your weight issues. So many of you guys told me that you have weight issues because you feel you're stuck and it just shows up everywhere. And one of the things that most people shared with me was that there is a certain aspect of there's a huge aspect of overwhelm and a certain aspect of loneliness and kind of that sad loneliness, that kind of but I want to be okay anyways, but I don't think I am loneliness. That feeling of I don't have any support. I can't do this alone. Where do I even start? Where does this lead? That feeling of isolation, and especially when our rooms are not in a way that we feel we can easily present them to others, we start to be very isolated. We apologize to people who come into the house saying, my house is cluttered, and oftentimes my experience is that it's not even cluttered. It's just it is the way that it is, but we think it's not presentable. That's very emotional, right? Can you guys relate to that? Right? So, and then here's another thing that I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you, but I really want you to grasp why this is so important. So here's something that I learned. When we start with good intentions and we don't follow through, we start to not believe that we will follow through the next time. It's kind of like this. Your subconscious mind will store the information that all you will ever do about clutter is start and not follow through. And it will store this information as a fact, right? It will just say, oh, every time Ingrid clears clutter or Ingrid works in her office, she stops and then she stops. And then every next time you get started again, that information is being fed back to you. So now you start again, you get to that point, and then you stop. And the more often that happens, the less you start to believe in yourself, the more desperate you start to get, the more embarrassing this gets, the more the guilt trip starts to show up, because we just can't get past this. We've lost the faith that we have what it takes to actually push through it and do stuff. Very often at this point, abandonment stuff comes up for people. Childhood stuff comes up. Being judged, not being good enough. Why can't I even do this? All these things are so important. And we want to address them. We really want to address them. So here's something that I have as an offer for those of you who feel that with the right support, and if it was affordable for you, this would be a really cool time to tackle this problem altogether. Okay? And I have asked you guys in advance if that would be of interest for you, if you would be interested in actually working together for a while. And I think of over 100 people, only 2 people said that it's not the right time. So I thought I'm just going to throw this out there for you, and we'll see where this goes. Okay? So let me share my screen again so that I can show to you what this would actually look like. Okay, just a second. Let's just take this down for a minute. Okay, there we go. All right. So here is, just a minute. Just a second, let me just do this best way. Okay. All right, I'm sorry about this. Okay. All right. All the blessings of a webinar. So here is something that I want to do with you guys. The first thing, most of you have told me that 4 to 5 weeks, probably 5 weeks, would be a decent amount of time that if you really had the focus and support, you could get some major things done. This is not necessarily the time where you clear out the house, attic to basement, garage to the barn, unless you want that. If you want to do that, I'm happy to help you. Go for it. Good for you, right? But it's where you create the shift that you need to see in your life so that your life really begins to change, just like this, right? All of a sudden, you have these places that are easy for you to maintain, and you're comfortable with them. So the structure, the process that I would like to offer you guys is this. I want to create a community of people who will give each other the support and the accountability if that's desired. Some of you don't want accountability. Some of you really swear on it. And then every day for the next 5 weeks, I will teach you guys a specific class. And remember, we have these 4 areas. Now, I want to teach you the different skills and emotional release and all the different things that you need in one of those areas. So we're going to focus, for example, 1 week on the utilities, accomplishment, work area. All right? So that you have those in place and you learn the skill sets that you need to know very quickly what to touch, what to keep, where to donate it, if you need to donate it, how to sell it. But we're all going to be talking about the same kind of skill set, even if the rooms are different, right? Because some of you have a 1-bedroom apartment and some of you have a 5-bedroom home. So we can't say, everybody focus on the office if you don't have one, right? Make sense? So the most important thing is, or one of the important things is, we will always start with celebration and success. All of you, when you follow those steps and you remember what we toss first, what we get rid of first, all of you will have something to celebrate. And the more you celebrate, the more your subconscious gets reprogrammed and said, wait a minute, she's actually doing this, or he is actually doing this. Something's happening here. We're starting the cleaning process and it's working. And the more you reprogram your subconscious, the easier it will be for you to identify what you need and what you don't. We will talk about challenges and we will talk about support. We discuss a new quadrant, which are those 4 areas, and the systems that you need and the best possible strategies. And I will tap with you guys extensively. We will absolutely do that, right? I want to make sure that you guys are okay. All right. Let me share my screen really quick. How does this sound so far? One of the things that I really want to focus with you guys on is that you find the right place for your stuff if that stuff still has value, right? I don't want you to feel that you are depriving yourself, that you are throwing out things that actually have value. But I want to use this time with you to find the best place for it so that the time and value relationship is correct for you, right? So that I got rid of the couch and either this person has it because I put it on Craigslist or I donated and I got $395 for it. Does that make sense? Additional tappings, absolutely, Denise. Definitely. Because that is so important, right? I don't know how people even do this work without tapping, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so here is what I decided to do. And I really, really hope that you guys make this a priority if this is the right time for you. Let me just share this really quick.
All right. So here is what I came up with. And I decided to keep this super simple. You will receive 5 weekly webinars. There's a silver program and a gold program. Okay. 5 weekly webinars means we will get together. And from what I heard from you guys, a Monday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern would be a good time. Right? I am also open to doing it at the same time we did this class right now, which would be Monday at noon Eastern time. Right now, the class is for 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday evening. All right? So that should help people on the West Coast as much as on the East Coast. You will have a Facebook group. Now, the Facebook group is going to be for you guys to really celebrate and enjoy and hang out and say, oh my God, you can't believe I did this. So I tried it on my clothes and I got rid of 80% of them and now I'm going shopping, right? You can ask questions. You can ask for support. You can connect with each other. You have a group that is doing the same thing as you are doing. You're focusing together and it's a time it's only a certain amount of time. I'm not asking you to dedicate your entire life to this, but for 5 weeks, you are going to focus on this and come back every week. You will have tapping buddies. You guys can connect over Facebook. I highly recommend you do that. You share with each other. When somebody has a problem, the other person can work with them. This is so important to have. If you want, you will have accountability, which means that you can tell us on Facebook, and I will put a system in place for that, what your goal for the week is going to be, right? So that you don't overdo it, that you don't say, I want to clean out the garage, the basement, and the attic because it's all storage, but you focus on something that by the end of the week actually really will get done, right? And then your subconscious will understand that you have made a decision to change. Does that make sense? There will be plenty of inspiration and support. And I think if you guys have spent this time with me here on the call, so you know that I'm all about celebrating. I think celebration is so important for you, and we really want to have that, right? If it's not fun, then why would you do it? Structure and systems. We will very much talk about how to get, excuse my English, how to get shit done. Which structure you actually will need in those spaces. What is a non-negotiable and what are systems that make sense for you? Different people need different things, but you do need to decide on stuff that pleases you, that works for you, that's comfortable for you. So I really want you guys to do that. Okay? And I'm going to help you with that. Every week, we will actually have a little competition going on. We will encourage you to monetize items of value. Find the things that actually have value, that are cluttered in your house and a treasure in somebody else's, and make decisions. Keep the list and actually go ahead and post this on Facebook, post this for us, and then start making money with your stuff. I would be beyond shocked if you didn't have more than $1,000 worth of items in your house that you could sell, that you could monetize, even if you made it a tax deduction. True? I would be absolutely shocked. Unless you live in a 2-bedroom apartment and you just moved, you will have these things in your house. Just look at your CDs, look at your books, and you will find them. There will be checklists. Every week, you guys will get a checklist from me. Okay, where you can see if you have actually done these things or the things you need to do. This is not to make you feel bad. This is for you personally to stay focused. So you know you're not expected to do everything, but here are certain things you're expected to do. And on top of that, of course, there will be lots and lots of EFT and emotional help in this throughout the class. But on top of that, each and every one of you who participates in the program gets a private 15 minutes EFT session with me. So if you run into an item that is really emotional for you, you schedule your time with me, and we will do EFT and release that emotional attachment. Does that sound okay so far? Right? Let me just switch over really quickly and see how you guys are feeling about this.
All right. So here we are again. All right. How does this sound? Do you guys think that this makes some sense? If you could, if the time was right and the price was right for this. Okay, great. Wonderful. So here is what this will look like. Let me just share this again with you guys really quick. The price for the silver program is going to be $597. Remember that you will make more money by being in the program. And if you choose today, if you choose to join us, I will give you a $200 discount. Okay? Just because I want you guys to get started, so it's going to be $397. $397 for all of this. You have constant access to me. You get 5 weekly classes. You get the Facebook group. You get the tapping buddies, the accountability. You will have a time to celebrate and have fun, and to get the support that you need, both structural as much as emotional. You will put systems in place, and you will definitely make money in the process. Okay? You will get the 15-minute private EFT session, $397. Okay? If you guys feel that you need a lot more emotional support, this is something I've never done before. And I am not kidding you, this is not some weird speech. I know there are quite a few of my clients on the call right now. And you guys all know that my hourly rate is $195. Okay? If you guys decide that you want to join this program and you need personal work, private work, right, which goes beyond what we will do as a group. You really want to work through some trauma. You really want to get some support with memories. If that is what you need, and you feel you would like to work with me privately, you will get 5 60-minute private EFT sessions with me. Okay? And that would usually be the price for that. So the value of this is, and I'm not kidding you, $1,582. That's what taking this program and that program together would be. And I will give you a discount. I've never done this, but I will give you a discount of $587. So I basically cut my hourly rate in half. Okay? So the tuition for you then would be $995. And yes, you can split this up into 2 payments. You can send me an email. I am more than happy to talk with you about this. I know that money is an issue, but please remember, what we are going to be working on is helping you make money from your stuff. This is going to be a program that will pay for itself while you reach your goal to reprogram your subconscious and actually in a community just get it done and get it out of the way. Okay, so it is $397 if you want to do all of this, and it is $995 if you would like to have 5 60-minute private EFT sessions on top of that. So here's the process to sign up. This is personal to me. Let me switch over really quick and see you guys. Okay, here you are. So this is personal to me. When you sign up with me, you're not a number. Okay? You're not somebody where I just say, I just want to have 500 people on the call and I don't care who they are and I'm just going to throw some PowerPoint presentation at you and take it or leave it. I want to get to know you. I want to help you. I want to support you. I want to make sure that you feel the support from the group. I want to make sure that you feel like you're part of something and that your voice gets heard. Okay? So I want you guys to really apply for this program. Send me an email. Say, I'm in. And I will send you a quick invoice and you will pay for the program and that's out of the way. And then send me what you want me to know about you. Okay? This is usually something I only do on much higher price programs, but this is important to me. And I know how, I know that I would like that too if I was participating in a program like this. Send me what you want me to know about you so that I have a sense when you are in the class, who you are, what your needs are, what your, the issues are that you, that made you participate. And then we can customize it so it really works for you. So participating in this class is to send me an email, say, yes, I'm in. I'm going to send you an invoice and that you can pay. If you need a payment plan, that's okay. Just let me know about that too. And then send me whatever you want me to know about you. And we get started and set this class up right away. Okay? So we start next week. I'm not kidding. There's nothing to wait for you guys. Next week, Monday, is when we're going to start our class. And it's going to be very exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear from you. I can't wait for you guys to contact me. The email address to use to contact me personally is Ingrid@ingriddinter.com. Ingrid@ingriddinter.com. Of course, all our webinars will be recorded so that you guys, if you can't make it, you guys will have access to the recording and you can watch over and over. You can do, the exercises again. You can get to download the worksheets. All of these different things. You can do the tapping again. I'm going to do whatever I possibly can to make this work for you. And I want to see some before and after pictures because I know that for those of you who are ready to make a huge shift in your life, this program is going to be about that. All right? So send me an email, Ingrid@ingriddinter.com. Say, yes, I'm in. I will send you an invoice. You pay for the invoice, and we immediately go from there in our class that's next week. So I cannot wait to hear from you. It's going to be very, very exciting. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get this ball rolling. I can promise you that you will not recognize your home and your life 5 weeks from now. Thank you so much for attending the class. I love you, I respect you, I appreciate you, and I cannot wait to spend the next 5 weeks with you. See you then.